It is 3:01 p.m. I'm going to open the meeting for the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Cannabis Commission. I'm the chair, Al Silverstein. I'm going to do a roll call. So we have our newest commissioner, welcome, Durricane Rosarian. We have, let's see, Mr. Robert Poole, who's our secretary. So we do have a quorum. So at this point, I'm going to ask to approve the minutes of June 20th, 2024. I need a motion, please. And Commissioner Betty Buck has joined us too.
Thank you.
Okay, need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, second.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. The ayes carry. Executive Director's Report, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're going to do things a little differently today, and then it's a new fiscal year, and then we're kind of going to do it differently each month. Previously, what I would do is give you a report of activity from our last meeting, which was kind of weird to assimilate that information because we were mid-month to mid-month. So to be cleaner, we're going to give you a report of each month as we move forward. But on this first one, I'm just going to give you a cumulative report of fiscal 24 in those areas that we've been involved in. And they're pretty impressive numbers. So regarding our inspections, we conducted 3,499 tobacco and cannabis inspections throughout last fiscal year. And keeping in mind that cannabis was only a portion of, well, it was a whole year now because we did just start that in July, but kind of handcuffed somewhat in the Washington County court ruling that says we can do only so much work with them. Alcohol inspections, we conducted 2,316 of them throughout the year, either generated from our inspections or generated from tips or things that people felt comfortable enough to call us or some of our confidential informants. We had 265 incidents that warranted a report and a significant investigation and report. So as I said, most of the time it's an inspection. We might find a violation. Maybe there's something minor there, but these are ones that were significant enough to do a thorough investigation and write a report on. Of those 265 reports, we seized over 844,000 sticks of other tobacco products, specifically 844,716. The tax loss to the state of Maryland was around $637,252. Those investigations also yielded seizure of 37,784 packs of contraband cigarettes, which yielded a tax loss of $141,690. And all combined of spirits, wine, and beer, we seized 3,339 containers for a tax loss of $202. So you can see it's a pretty significant difference between what the tax is on alcohol and what it is on the various tobacco products. So there's so much significantly less. And we typically, and I will continue moving forward, let you know which counties most of these or which counties these came from. It's safe to say right now, throughout the course of last year, every county had some type of an investigation that warranted the investigation and charges being placed. So each county in the state saw something from us and had some violations. Regarding,
hey, Jeff, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure, sir. Go ahead.
Real quick, are the contraband cigarettes that are seized, are they counterfeit cigarettes or are they properly manufactured cigarettes simply without a tax stamp?
That's a great question, and I'm going to say both. In some instances, they are clearly cigarettes that were smuggled in from, most often, Virginia, which would still have the Virginia stamp on them. In some instances, we're finding now counterfeit stamps, and even a step further, legitimate cigarettes with counterfeit stamps, which is really kind of unusual in Maryland. But now Maryland's tax rate is pretty high on cigarettes, and that makes it an attractive place for somebody to take the time to develop tax stamps. So we're starting to get hints that there are going to be some counterfeit tax stamps out there, but the cigarettes appear to be legitimate. In some instances, the cigarettes are not legitimate and the stamps are not legitimate. They are all counterfeit, but both of them right now is more rare. But we are seeing more counterfeit stamps on the uprise.
And we're not interested in diversion from Maryland to other states, such as New York City. Is that correct?
Well, okay, so I don't want to say we're not interested in it because nobody wants to be the cause of it. And we would certainly, if we had information that was happening, we would certainly notify our counterparts in New York, because it's all the way around. It's just, there's public health issues. I understand what you're saying. If somebody bought legitimate cigarettes, legitimately stamped in Maryland, do we care where they go? We don't always know where they go, but sometimes there are patterns that would indicate maybe they are going out of state. And we feel kind of obligated to notify our cohorts in other states to let them know that maybe it's worth looking into. Because the product is not always going to be safe. I mean, we think it is here, but maybe it's not safe product. Maybe it was counterfeit product. I don't really know. But I'd say this, the tax rate that Maryland puts on cigarettes right now is amongst the highest in the nation. So we're not likely going to be a source state for any diversion, because there's not going to be a lot of savings between what somebody has to buy from us legitimately and what they can sell them for in another state. It's going to be
Got it.
generally like a North Carolina, Virginia type scenario. Virginia, the tax is, I think, 30 cents or somewhere in that range. You can see the difference.
Yeah.
So we're
Thank you,
typically not
Jeff.
going
I
to be a
appreciate
Sure. Okay, and so regarding our staffing issues, we've had a few people that we've lost. We lost two of our licensing staff that went to the comptroller's office. They were great people. They went because both of them live very close to Annapolis, and both of them received upgrades. They took higher paying positions, so it was a good move for them. They were wonderful people for us. We'd take them back in a heartbeat if they wanted to come back. They were great. They were so kind, even to say if this wasn't reported out previously. They stayed longer. They had an offer to come earlier, and they stayed longer to help us out through a very difficult, busy renewal period. And then very sadly, we also had the untimely passing of our manager of our licensing area. So for a brief period, we didn't have any licensing staff, including our licensing manager. I'm just really proud of the crew that we have here who step up and fill holes wherever they are. And so people volunteered to learn how to do the licensing processing. They plugged the holes, and during a busy time, which is right now is our direct wine shipping. And now we're preparing for, direct wine shipping is what we're preparing for. Back in April, May was our general licenses. They plugged the holes for general licenses. They're plugging the holes for the direct wine shipping that we have now. I'm incredibly proud of this crew, and I have to remind people to remind me not to take them for granted, because they always work outside of their class to do what's necessary to get the job done. So we have a great crew here, and I really want to give them kudos. So
Jeff,
fulfilling, yes, ma'am.
can you send us the names of the people that did that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Proudly. You better believe it. That's a great idea, and I will.
Mhm.
So for the two licensing positions that left us in May, we've done our interviews and we've made our selections, and we do expect to onboard 2 people on August 7th. We have a manager position that oversees reporting and is kind of like an assistant to our assistant director, almost like a helping hand to the assistant director of our bureau. And that person we hope will be starting August 7th. If not, then we think by August 21st. The licensing manager, we are developing the process of conducting interviews and advertising for that. So that'll be something will be out on that probably by the end of the month to start advertising for that position. And we've also just recently, just last week, our finance officer left for another job outside of state government. So we are we're modifying that MS-22, which is the job position, and we're going to be advertising for that also soon, hopefully by the end of the month. We'll have that out to do some advertising. Something else that's kind of interesting, we've recently put together a contract with a lab who can do the testing we need to have done regarding cannabis. And so that's what's really handcuffed us with some of our cannabis work. Yes, it's Washington County's lawsuit, but even more, or equally, I should say, is our inability to get lab testing done. We've got a contract with a lab who does this lab testing. Thank you, Mr. Hawk, with Maryland State Police, and they were incredibly instrumental in helping connect us with this lab and showing us what the contract needed to look like. So we've got that contract in place now, and we're hoping by the end of the month to send at least perhaps 10 cases to them of places we know that are violators, at least suspected violators, and get that product up to that lab. So that's a big victory for us. That's going to start allowing us to do things that we want to do that we can still do under the lawsuit, and will allow us to even start to kick off things like our underage sales. If any of these people who are selling cannabis products or THC products that should be licensed and are not, regardless, you can't sell them to somebody under age 21. So that gets us, we can work outside of the lawsuit, and we intend on starting that very soon as well. We're very close to an MOU with the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office, which will allow us to use some of their cadets who are underage. So that's that. That's our report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, legal legislative. Mr. Akris?
In terms of report, I think the last time I presented to the board or the commission, we talked about all of the legislation that had passed. We're actually going to be issuing a legislative manual that will go out to all 25 jurisdictions in the state. We're putting the final touches on that. And that is a manual essentially that covers all of the alcoholic beverage. Yes, Jeff Kelly has a large manual up. It covers all 25 jurisdictions, all of the laws that were passed regarding alcohol, regarding tobacco and cannabis. And just so that folks do know, the alcoholic beverages and cannabis article is the largest article in the state of Maryland. It contains 4 volumes of alcoholic beverage laws, more than any other article in the state. So each year we think that this is a benefit to our stakeholders to provide this information to them in terms of listing the laws, but also providing a summary of these laws. And what's great is with our new communications officer, Mike Wynn, we've been able to take the product which we would normally print, we've turned it into an online version, we've made it more user-friendly, more accessible, and I'm really excited about what we're going to be able to push out over the next couple days. And this is something that jurisdictions across the state of Maryland really use, as well as our own agents use as a field guide, essentially, when they're out conducting enforcement as to the new laws that are on the books.
Could you
I was
push a
just gonna-
copy of that? Could you push a copy of that link to us as well, please?
Sure, of course, Commissioner Poole, of course.
Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. I just wanted to touch briefly on that. I don't know, Mr. Executive Director, was there anything else you wanted me to touch on in regards to the Legal and Legislative Division?
I think that was really it, Tom, was just that resource, which goes out to all of the local liquor boards as well. So they have on their desks a quick, steady, ready reference for all the changes that took place statewide and within their jurisdiction. And it's also helpful for those who, you know how we do a lot of local legislation now. So you have something that's going to happen in one county uniquely, but like wildfire, it spreads. Other counties start to get the idea. Well, they can look at that now and see how it was structured and what was necessary. So when they're going through the process of developing their own local legislation to address those issues, it's already there. They've got a pathway for it. That's a ready reference. So we did it last year. It was very, very helpful, well received, and publishing it this year. So that's it, Tom. Thank you.
Are we going to send that out as a PDF as well as a hard copy?
We're going to send this out as a PDF. We're going to post it online.
Okay.
If there are hard copies that folks want, we can work on printing, but we're going to have in color, because unlike last year, where mostly it was black and white text, and that's of course a different cost for printing. We printed a few copies that were used in-house and also distributed to the counties. This is color, high gloss, high images. It's a different kind of product. But if commissioners do want a copy, we'll see what we can do to print you up a physical color copy.
Well, I think the PDF is the way to go,
Mhm.
and people can carry it. You know, they can access it through their cell phones or
I
their
agree.
computers and everything else, and it saves us some resources. So
And you can search it.
I wouldn't print too many copies.
Hear you loud and clear, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, new business. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chair, annually, which we haven't always done strictly as we should, I guess, but annually we're required to select a new chair. And the law, it's funny the way the law is written, is it mentions specifically a chair amongst you voting, select that chair. And we've thought in the past it was prudent to have a vice chair just in case we needed that somebody to stand in for any individual meeting. And it doesn't say about electing a secretary yet. At the same time, it does say the secretary has obligations and reports to do too. So it only makes sense that we elect for that. And that's how we've always done it. So having said that, earlier this week, I think it was either last week or early this week, just sent out an anonymous ballot for anybody to make nominations. And I would say right now, we have one nomination for each of our positions. So I guess will be appropriate, Mr. Chair, if you're okay with that, is I'll announce the position, announce the nominee, and then if you like, I'll call for a vote on that. Would that work for you?
That's
Mhm.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so for the position of chair, the nominee was Chair Al Silverstein.
Mhm.
All in favor of Mr. Silverstein remaining as chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, okay. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, Mr. Silverstein, congratulations. And as you mentioned, your pay will be doubled. So
Much
it won't be, I'm sorry, it won't be double, but we did get a 3% increase this year.
Good luck.
Yes, yes. For the position of vice chair, we have a nomination for Mr. Eric Morissette. Our previous vice chair was Ms. Barbara Wall. As you all know, she left the commission, her term ended, and she did not seek reappointment. So Mr. Eric Morissette is the nominee. All those in favor of Mr. Morissette?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing no opposition, then Mr. Morissette will be the vice chair. And for the position of secretary, we have Mr. Rob Poole, the incumbent as well in that position. All those in favor of Mr. Poole remaining as secretary?
Aye.
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 And anyone opposed? Mr. Poole, you can't be opposed? Okay, wonderful. Then the ayes have it. So we've empaneled our positions as Mr. Silverstein chair, Mr. Morissette vice chair, and Mr. Poole secretary. Turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your confidence. And I really appreciate the opportunity to work with all the commission members. I think
Alan, I'm excited about the pay raise.
I am too.
You can take me to lunch on it. I won't hold my breath.
For those of you who are out there, our compensation is zero. So just so you know, we're having a little bit of fun. But we enjoy the opportunity to work with Mr. Kelly and his staff. I think we've got an extremely professional staff doing a great job. And our new headquarters are something to be proud of, and look forward to working with them. I would mention one thing that just came to my attention. I receive updates from organization that reports on different things that are happening with marijuana. And it looks like the next new thing is infusion of wine with THC, taking the alcohol out and infusing it with THC and other beverages. So it's something we need to be aware of, especially for the legislative session.
Interesting. Alcohol-free wine.
Wine.
Infused with THC.
THC.
Okay.
Correct. Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Need a second,
I
please?
second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next month, August 15th.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.